Hey, everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio's second Tuesday Vacation Station Food, Wine, and Travel Show with the International Food, Wine, and Travel Writers Association. We love them. Every second Tuesday, we talk with one of their members that are a destination, or perhaps today we're talking about CityPASS. And so they're not necessarily a destination, but they represent 14 destinations in North America. So we're going to be chatting with Deborah Wakefield again. But everyone, you can keep up with the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association if you go to ifwtwa.org. They are an awesome organization. If you're in the travel industry or you're a travel writer, photographer, definitely check out what they're doing over there. But welcome back, Deborah. CityPASS. CityPASS is really unique because you guys really connect us. Like we get like a bundle of tickets to all kinds of attractions. And like it says behind you in the video version of this podcast, significant savings of up to 50%. Yay!
Right. It's,
awesome.
we have two owners, Mike Gallagher and Mike Morey, and that was the whole idea behind CityPASS, is that you could go to a city and it would sort of be like a theme park where you've got that book of tickets that got you into all the e-ticket rides, the really good rides. And so they have curated the top attractions in each of the destinations, and they've made sure that you've got some excellent places to visit in each place, but not so many that you feel overwhelmed during the amount of time you have there. They really wanted people to spend a lot of time in the attractions, spend a whole day in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. You still won't see everything, but you don't want to rush through a place like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, this is a family-owned business, right?
It is. We have two families that own the company, the Moreys, Barbara and Mike Morey on one side, and then the Gallaghers, Mike and Connie Gallagher on the other side. And we don't have a board of directors. We really, our customers and our attraction partners are the people we want to be responsible to. And so during the recent pandemic, we had a pretty rough 2020 because our revenues were actually below zero. Our owners made the commitment to refund people's money for any tickets that they couldn't use.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they really went above and beyond to make sure our customers stayed happy, and hopefully a lot of those people will come back now that travel is starting up again.
Wow,
that's integrity right there. That's real integrity. I'm impressed.
Absolutely. I mean, I think about when you were on our show last year, with Doug McKenzie over in Phoenix, you were on a conversation, we were talking travel, and it was right at the beginning of the whole pandemic thing, it just was like, okay, maybe we're going to be home for a month. But it just, that pandemic kept dragging on, and for businesses, airlines, everybody was impacted so much, but for them to do that is amazing. But so things are opening up. So has that been like that for you? Like who's open, who's closed? I mean, we've been through some attractions since we last chatted with you. We know we travel full time. And you don't just, suddenly stop, but the world did. But we kept driving in some of the attractions as we were going. We're opening up. We went to some major botanical gardens and things like that. And you just had to reserve ahead. And also, well, they kind of let us in because we were doing the media thing, but it was staged visitorship. So is that what's happened in regards to some of the attractions that you deal with?
Yeah, most of our attractions are reopened now, but many of them, even in the states that are 100% open, a lot of the attractions are still operating at 25 to 50% of their normal visitor capacity. And that's to maintain the social distancing, just make sure that the guests and the workers at the museums and the attractions stay healthy. But because of that, when you've got such a lower occupancy number, we do have a lot of attractions that are now asking for advance reservations before you show up. So that was a real challenge for our tech team this year. Once attractions started reopening and we knew people would need to make reservations, they actually put together a page on our website for each of our destinations where our customers could go in and make those advance reservations primarily through our website. So they
that's excellent.
to
That's cool.
And we have over 100 attraction partners now, and it seems like every single one of them has a proprietary reservation system. So for our tech team to match our website with 100+ different systems
Wow.
around the country, and actually in 2 countries, because we do have Toronto as well. It was
Oh,
a challenge.
oh my gosh. And so is
Wow.
that something that you're going to keep
Wow.
going on with? Because I know a lot of companies really had to change, even education, are some of our partners in education. They suddenly, now they're teaching online, but now they're like, well, we have this all set up now. So now we have this option. Do you see that happening, keeping that kind of portal going?
We will keep it going as long as the attractions are requiring or recommending advanced reservations. And I think some of the attractions, especially in our busier cities like New York, may keep this going far into the future, because it allows them to regulate the crowd flow, especially on weekends when places are so busy. It's a better experience for the guest. If you make that advanced reservation, you show up, there aren't 10 people in front of you to look at one painting. It's a better experience for everyone.
It makes sense, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense.
We enjoyed some of the places we went. It was just nice to not, like, you're trying to look at a flower or everybody's taking their selfies or their photos. So you have no, it's true. I'm like, get out, it's my turn.
Yeah.
So it is a far better experience. And I kind of hope it kind of stays that way in a way. And I think quality, and I think that's something we learned, quality over quantity, this, over, COVID. So it's interesting, we think about attractions and the first thing our minds goes to theme parks, but you're saying paintings. So, so art museums are part of these passes, these attractions that people can book through.
We pick the top attractions in terms of out-of-town attendance to invite to be part of CityPASS in each destination. So now the attraction can say no thank you, we don't want to be part of CityPASS, but we do go with the most visited attractions first.
Okay, so you've got Toronto, you said. Okay, so what are the other cities that you represent, or regions?
We have
14, right? 14.
Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Dallas and Houston in Texas, Denver, New York City, Orlando, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Seattle, Southern California, which includes a lot of theme parks in the southern part of that state, Tampa Bay, and Toronto, and I think I got all of that.
Oh my
good.
gosh. I'm calling you because we're going to some of those cities. We're going to be in Atlanta, near Atlanta, for like 2 months, Nancy. See,
Atlanta is one of my favorite tickets. I love Atlanta, and so much good food there.
Yeah, and also it's like a lot of filming locations in the area too, so that's kind of a thing. And so I know Southern California, I want to bring this up because I know we've got so many of our audience members are in Southern California, and we even started our magazine 24 years ago over there. And so it's kind of neat I know before we started recording we were talking about Legoland. We're actually one of our first magazine stories was the beginning of Legoland. I remember getting hard hats and going out and walking Legoland. And our friend Peter Norby was actually instrumental of bringing Legoland to America. And he's a retired baker from Encinitas, California. So this is so cool that this is part of the packages for Southern California.
Yeah, well, if you like the Lego movies, which I myself am a big fan of, I just think they're fantastically funny, and they work on both child and adult levels. But they just opened the Lego Movie World in Carlsbad at the Legoland California Park. And it's packed full of rides and food and shopping that all relates back to the Lego movies. So, and that just opened May 27th. So it's great.
Cool.
That's cool. So Lisa, what was that botanical garden that had all the Lego sculptures done by children?
Oh, that was the North Carolina Arboretum.
Yeah.
And in the Arboretum, they swap out this exhibit has now moved on. So you have to keep up with it. You have to keep up.
Okay.
See, this is what's cool about these kind of attractions too, is exhibits rotate. But there was an artist who went and made all these sculptures out of Lego, peacocks and birds.
That's amazing.
Absolutely incredible. But Legoland is, what I think is so cool about these attractions, for children and for adults, there's a creativity that they get to connect with that allows their minds to open up and realize the sky is limitless. You can, you can do things in your life. And I think like Walt Disney definitely does that, right? Disneyland and
sure.
Go to the movies and you can actually feel that this is something that's real, but it's not real. And they can pursue their dreams. That's kind of what these attractions are like. But Legoland, that's a hands-on, like, oh, I could build something, I can create.
I have to say one of my most favorite parts of Legoland is the Lego Hotel in Carlsbad. The lobby has a massive pit full of Legos. And while parents are checking in, kids can be in this huge Lego area building things and just having it all. It was, and the elevators, when you get on them, the minute the doors close, at least the elevator in my part of the hotel had a disco ball that came down and it would play disco tunes from like the 80s. And people were dancing on the elevator. It's
so funny.
Such a happy, wonderful mood.
That's fun.
How cool.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So Philadelphia, we were in Pennsylvania last year quite a bit. And, but we never got to Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, but we were like right there. So I'm curious about Philadelphia, because you even said food about Atlanta. Now Philadelphia, as far as I know, is like, that's like multicultural magic of food over there. But what are some of the attractions like there?
Well, Philadelphia is an interesting ticket. In Philadelphia and Denver also, you can pick 3, 4, or 5 attractions to add to your ticket. And you don't have to pick them in advance, but once you have, for example, a five attraction ticket, you just show up at any 5 of the attractions that are part of Philadelphia's CityPASS. And there's things like Eastern State Penitentiary, which is the old prison where Al Capone was once housed.
Oh, that's it. We got to go, Nancy. We got a Law and Order story to do. So come on.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's one of those kind of creepy, spooky places to walk through, and a lot of ambiance, and I love that facility. National Constitution Center is one of the attractions that I think is the most moving and beautiful attraction in Philadelphia.
Yeah, because it's Philadelphia. That's right.
Completely to the Constitution, and you would think it would be a little dry, but there are so many wonderful stories of immigrants who have come to the United States, taken that citizenship pledge to support the Constitution. As you hear their stories in their own voices, I just dare be crying.
Wow, that's cool.
And then they have a really, really wonderful live theater show called Freedom Rising. And the first time I saw it, I went in and there was a person on the stage talking, but their delivery was so flawless and so beautiful. I thought, that must be a recording. It's too perfect, but they're actually local theater volunteers and people who come in and do this show, and they do a phenomenal job. And again, you'll be crying while they're talking about the Constitution and America's freedoms and values. The Barnes Foundation, which is an art institute, is there. So there's a mix of things in Philadelphia that are good for both adults traveling without kids, and then people who are traveling with children too.
That's, this is the thing, because I think, like I said, we always think theme parks immediately about attractions, but like you're saying, this is now something completely different, Chicago. Now that's someplace we keep driving by. We haven't done it yet. So that's I'm just using you as one of our travel planners here. So tell us about these places where I know we're going to go to and what we need to see and do.
Chicago is another one of my favorite cities, and it's again one of those great food destinations. If you're sensing a theme, I like to eat when I travel.
Good girl.
Regional specialties, but Skydeck Chicago is one of our attractions there. they just opened a whole new experience on the lower level, the lobby level. So when you first go into Skydeck, instead of just hopping on the elevator and going right up to the observation area, you go through it takes between 30 to 60 minutes, depending on how interested you are in each exhibit, but really gives you a great background overview of Chicago, its history, architecture, because that's such a big part of Chicago. And that's brand new, just opened a few months ago. And then the Field Museum, which is a fantastic natural history museum.
Oh, cool.
And that's where they have the largest assembled T-Rex fossil skeleton.
Cool.
Her name is Sue, and she has a new gallery in which she was at the Field Museum. She also has a Twitter account that's a little sassy, really fun to follow.
Oh my gosh, I'm just thinking Johnny Cash would have to change his song. It's a T-Rex named Sue.
Yeah,
named Sue.
That's cool. I don't know what it is about dinosaurs, but I'm so interested in them.
They're fascinating. They're fascinating.
I know. And every time I see a little lizard outside, I'm like, come on, eat more, grow up, get big.
And then right next to the Field Museum, we have the Shed Aquarium, which is a fantastic aquarium. And then just a few steps further down the road is the Adler Planetarium, which I think is the oldest planetarium in the United States, a public planetarium where they had shows and public exhibitions and things. Museum of Science and Industry is there.
Oh, wow.
And another observation deck called Chicago. You won't be bored in Chicago. You'll have a great time. And then in the evening, I highly recommend Second City Comedy Club.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. I'm in. I love our I'm in. I'm for the comedy. So that's, just all these different experiences, natural history museums. That's super cool. I know, but now Florida, you got Tampa Bay. Tampa is like, you could spend quite a few days in Tampa, maybe a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, that's one of our tickets that has more than one city included.
Yeah.
Attractions in St. Petersburg.
Oh, cool.
And Tampa that are part of that.
Oh, they're all part of it's just one big region. And that's what I mean. It's like we were just there this time last year, I think, around about this time. And, it's, oh my gosh, I love the whole area, but there's a lot to do. So in a way, I'm kind of thinking like how people get the tickets for you. It kind of like helps you just kind of wade through all the stuff when you get to an area like that or Southern California. It's like, what do I do? There's so much to do. How do I narrow it down? And it kind of helps in their travel planning to go through you.
When we first, I didn't start CityPASS, but when our owners first started it, the thing they wanted to do is take the stress out of travel. And one of the biggest stresses is, I've never been here before. What do I do? What should I see? What will I really regret if I get home and I missed it? So that was one thing they wanted to do, was put together this compilation of top attractions. So if you were a first-time visitor especially, you made sure that you got to see everything that was really on that bucket list for that destination.
I'm just thinking
That's
too,
smart.
like right now with the pandemic and the slowing down the visitorship into each attraction, I think it's really neat that CityPass is able to still bring up discounted tickets, and that's still happening because attractions may go, hey, I have to slow down, so no discounts for you. So it's really cool that you guys are still doing this for everybody and it's going to happen. I think that's really great. But yeah, the Tampa Bay area, what are some of the highlights?
So we have the Florida Aquarium.
Yeah.
We have the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Clearwater Marine Aquarium is where Hope and Winter from the Dolphin Tale movies, if you've seen those movies. If you have small children, you've seen the movie.
Okay.
But the first Dolphin Tale was about Winter, who was the dolphin who'd gotten tangled up in some netting, and her tail had to be amputated. And they actually created a prosthetic tail for her. Much like
I remember something about that.
like a prosthetic leg or arm.
Yeah.
And so she lives at Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Most of the animals that are there are rescued animals that could not survive in the wild. And obviously Winter could not have survived on her own. And then Hope was another dolphin that came a few years later. So Winter was in the first movie, Hope and Winter in the second one. And so kids love to go because they know these two dolphins from these movies. But they just opened a brand new dolphin habitat for all the dolphins who live there. And it's beautiful.
Oh, nice.
And you're in a coastal area, so you want to experience that too. It kind of puts that feeling, into what's going on. You talking about Toronto earlier. What Toronto is that's a huge thing. That's a huge city. Like there's a lot going on there too.
It's very cosmopolitan. I know whenever I go to Toronto, I'm amazed at all the languages you hear on the it feels very European, and it's a great city. We have the CN Tower, and right next door, Ripley's Aquarium of Canada, which is relatively new. I think they opened within the last 5 or 6 years. Casa Loma, which is a beautiful, beautiful, used to be a private home. Now it's open to the public. Looks like a castle. And a lot of movies get filmed there. X-Men, some scenes were filmed there. Crimson Peak. So it's great if you're one of those people who likes to look at real estate for fun, it's awesome to just be able to wander through this beautiful old home and look at all the rooms and things. And the gardens are spectacular from all the way through summer, just spectacular. And we also have the Royal Ontario Museum, which is a great art museum, and the Ontario Science Center and the Toronto Zoo.
Wow.
Everything in Toronto right now is still closed. That's our one destination where we don't have the attractions open yet. And we're hoping that pretty soon they'll be back online.
Yeah, we hope so too for them. It's, we're getting there. It's, and we don't want to
getting there.
And we don't want to open up too fast and go back to where we started with this. So it's really important to have that safety part. Now you also have one of our favorite cities, San Francisco, on that list. And by the way, can you just start doing this worldwide? I'm just saying, can you be CityPASS global? Like
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
that would really help.
A lot of great international passes. I know whenever I travel, I use ticket passes everywhere, and the London Pass is great. There used to be something called the British Heritage Pass, which worked all over the UK. I think that's gone now, but right now and I think because of the pandemic, we're kind of sticking closer to home.
I know. But San Francisco, because you're talking about being European and everything, San Francisco to me feels like you're in a different country every block you walk. It's like, okay, I can get a pierogi, and then hey, wait, we're going to Chinatown. So it's like I love that about these cities, that it's just so multicultural. Just like you're saying with Toronto, Philadelphia, these places, to me, it just makes it so much fun to connect with everybody.
Well, in San Francisco, we've got a couple of attractions in Golden Gate Park. So the Young Museum, which is a modern art museum, and then just across the park, you can see them from one another, is the California Academy of Sciences. And that's a great facility if you've got kids. They have a planetarium and an aquarium, and just there's so much packed into this one building, which is very, very eco-friendly. It has one of those green roofs with plants and grass growing on top of it.
Oh, cool.
The building is very, very eco-friendly, and they're very much geared towards conservation. And then down on the waterfront, we have the Exploratorium, which is a science museum for kids, but every time adults there, they have a ball too. And they moved a few years ago from where they were down to the waterfront. So they're in Pier 15 in that building right now. And so it's gorgeous. Even if you're really not into the science museum, you can just sit and look at this fantastic view of San Francisco Bay.
Oh yeah, we've been near there, and I saw it. In fact, I photographed it, I think. And because we were at the Presidio, and isn't it near down there? Because I remember seeing that, and driving around, I think I was lost, which is
Really?
it's like that's how we travel. But
Yes.
I remember going, I want to go in there, and our timing was short. So hopefully next
Yeah.
time we'll be able to get there. But that whole area is so beautiful. It's gorgeous. One thing I wanted to ask, when people get city a pass, the ticket, right? So do
Mhm.
they order it online, and is it something that has to be printed off, or can you use it on your phone? How does that part work?
You can order it online, and most of our sales now are online just through our website, although we do sell through some third-party ticket
Mhm.
sellers. And then if you go directly to one of our CityPASS partner attractions, like if you showed up at the Exploratorium or the California Academy of Sciences, you can buy it right at their front desk too.
Okay.
Right now, just because of those reduced occupancies at the attractions, I really recommend people buy in advance
Mhm.
with enough time to make reservations so they can visit the attractions they want to see on the days they want to go. If you buy at the very last minute, it could be, a weekend day when the attraction's already sold out. So,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is there a time limit on, like, once you buy the pass and you go to the city, and um, do you have enough time to see everything? Is there ample time, or is it rushed? What do you think?
No, I definitely think you'll have plenty of time. For most of our destinations, it's 9 consecutive days. So that would be 2
Oh,
weekends and the week in between. So, and that was done very purposely by our
yeah.
hosts. So they wanted to make sure people had enough time. With our Orlando and Southern California City Pass tickets, you pick the number of days depending on the number of parks you want to visit. But for most of our other cities, it's going to be 9 days.
Hmm.
Now, when you order the ticket, it will come to your email, and you can keep it in your email. If you've got an Apple Wallet, you can tuck it into that and keep it on your phone. You don't have to print anything out. I always tell people, just in case your mobile phone runs out of battery, print out your ticket and
Yeah.
carry it with you, because the attraction can scan the QR code on the piece of paper just like they would on your phone
Oh,
screen. So it's always a good tip to have it just in case
yeah.
you weren't able to charge and you're running low on battery.
Never had that happen.
Yeah, really.
And when you buy your ticket, you'll have 1 year in which to activate it. So if you bought it today, you'd have until June 17th, 2022 to activate your ticket. And activation occurs when you go to the very first attraction and they scan your ticket at the front door to get you in. And then once you're activated, you have those 9 consecutive days to use the remaining admissions.
Oh, and this is so
Nice.
cool as a gift, I
Yeah.
think, too.
Yeah.
We've had people give them as gifts to their wedding parties. If you're planning a destination wedding and you've got enough to do, you can't, babysit the people who are coming in from out of town. They've given city passes to their guests and just said, have a great time, and we'll see you, at the church at
Yeah.
8:00.
Don't be late. Only the bride's allowed to be late.
We have parents who give them to kids who are going to a new city for college.
Oh,
And
nice.
they want, they want the kids to get off campus maybe once in a while and explore their new city. We've had people use them for, just newly moved to a destination and want to explore. So there's lots of reasons to give them as gifts.
Yeah. I was just
Nice.
thinking, even, people moving into a new city, that would be a really cool, like, housewarming gift, or, just even
Or
for
maybe,
realtors should just buy a whole bunch.
yeah, that, or maybe bed and breakfast might want to package it together as a
Yeah,
kind
lodging.
of lodging thing. That might be
Yeah, we
cool.
do have a lot of hotels that will put together packages that will include CityPass with your room.
Oh, cool.
Oh, what about Airbnb people? Are you seeing that
Yeah.
happen?
Probably, but we don't ask people where they're staying when they buy
Yeah.
the website. So I don't know if
Yeah.
Come on, Airbnb people, get on there. Get on it. Hip camp,
Yeah, step up.
Airbnb, get on there. Get the city pass. Come
Come
on.
on.
But that's cool. I think it's really neat to have those kind of partners, and make those kind of packages, and I think now, especially travel, you you want to have something packaged that you don't have to sit and stress on. People now,
Right.
as we all get back to work, we're all remembering how to go back to work. You know, if you are, some people are staying home, but either way, time is precious, you know, and so when
Yeah.
something is packaged and saves you money, hello, that's good to
Yeah.
me. You know, why not?
I think it's a real service because sometimes when you get to a city, you get a little intimidated, you know, and there's so much to do, and which is how far is this from that and all that. I mean, I think it just sounds organized and a lot easier.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't have to do the attractions in any specific order.
Mhm.
If you're in one part of the city and a museum or a boat tour is right there, you can just make the choice to do that attraction at that time. So it's flexible with your schedule.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
because everyone has their own CityPASS ticket in your travel party, if you've got multi-generational groups where maybe dad wants to take the little kids to the children's museum and mom wants to take the teenagers to the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle, you can split up. You don't all have to go together.
nice.
Oh, wow.
No,
Nice.
I've got to ask about Dallas and Houston because we're going there this year. In fact, I think we're going to have almost a month in Dallas. You know, so we're going to be twirling around there. And I hope you get Austin on the list next too. But Dallas and Houston, give us some insight. I'm using you as a travel planner.
Well, in Dallas, we have the Reunion Tower Geodeck, which is an observation deck there. And we also have the George W. Bush Presidential Library Museum, the sixth floor museum, which is probably one of my favorite attractions in Dallas. I thought it would be a little morbid the first time I went because it does focus on the assassination of John F. Kennedy, but it's so beautifully done. And the exhibits really cover a lot of his life and his work with civil rights and so much more than just his death. And so I found it very moving and beautifully done. The exhibits are spectacular. And then we also have the Perot Museum of Nature and Science. And you mentioned liking dinosaurs. There is a super fun attraction that kids really love at the Perot Museum, and it's where you can race a virtual T-Rex.
Oh, cool.
So you're running, and there's a projected T-Rex on the screen next to you. Usually the T-Rex wins, but it's a great way to see if you might have been lunch or if you have outrun the T-Rex.
Nancy,
no, I want
we
to
have to go. We have to go.
I have to.
Have. That's it. Go back to the T-Rex. This is going to be our
the biggest kid there.
You know what? I'm just going to do a whole new map story called Dinosaurs Across America.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, when we lived in South Africa on one tour that I led people to, we saw a dinosaur print in stone. And ever since that, I just, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's true. They really were here. I just find it completely off the wall and fascinating, you know? And I don't know, I would love to like have been alive at that time, I think.
Well,
especially
first, let's see if you can outrun the T-Rex.
Uh-oh.
Then we'll time travel you back. If you can outrun the T-Rex, we'll send you back.
Oh, okay. We'll get this. Okay, is there an attraction with a time machine? So this is what we need. We need the DeLorean from Back to the Future. You know, that's what we need. But it's interesting when you say about the T-Rex and the foot, Nancy, or the dinosaur foot. That was Kango Caves, I think. I think it was. But you know, dinosaurs. Again, it's like that's just when you get into that, it just you really opens your eyes. And for kids, it's that big like wow. You know. I'm glad you have a lot of natural history museums as part of this too. That's always interesting. I think also for kids get in there, little kids are like, wow, look at these, you know, the big, you know, mammoth sculptures or, you know, the skeletons and stuff. But I think for teenagers, as they're starting to learn things in school, you know, that they're getting into it and it kind of gives them, it's better than a book. You know, I'm not knocking the book, but I'm just saying you can get a visual perspective and you have that natural history museums like those big mammoths, and you standing there, you're like, whoa, this is huge.
Yeah.
You
cool.
understand the magnitude, so that's neat that you have that.
I have always thought, and my husband and I don't have children of our own, but we borrow our nieces and nephews. And I've always thought that travel is one of the best educational experiences you can offer a child.
Awesome. Yeah.
Not just the attractions you see, but also the people you meet, different cultures and
Yeah.
And even when people, family starts planning a trip and getting the whole family engaged in it, that's what I think is really neat, because you start to figure out, oh, what's your interest? I mean, even if they're choosing which attractions, they're going to be talking about, oh, I like this, I like that. It creates a conversation that sometimes isn't, had, and you have to deal with things together on the road. You're traveling.
This is true.
Because not everything goes right. Sometimes
Really?
you have to turn left. Sometimes you get lost and you have to figure things out together. And it's awesome. I mean, when she was talking about the South Africa, we did a 2.5-year tour together when I was 13. And we went to every single historic site, every attraction, every park.
Every park.
And my history lessons, and I was homeschooling, or I was a true Rhodes Scholar.
Yes.
But my history grades went all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Whereas I used to read historical novels and stuff at that age, but and loved it, but I really didn't do good in school with history. They bored me to death. It was just maybe the wrong teachers, but once I actually got that understanding from going to these significant places, my grades went up. And I did really good. And so exactly what you're saying. It's so important for kids to be out traveling and sometimes put the phone down. Look at what you're doing. That's for us adults too, right? It really is.
Yeah.
So
in Houston, what's in Houston?
Space Center Houston is the biggest attraction that we have in that collection. I really recommend people, if they have an interest in space, to get there early in the morning, because you can spend an entire day there. There's the tram tour that takes you all over. There are exhibits indoors. There are outdoor exhibits. Independence Plaza has a space shuttle replica that you can see. And this is still an actual facility where real astronauts still train. So as you're taking your tour through the museum, you might actually see some real astronauts here and there.
Cool.
And they have an on-site restaurant, and it's a great facility. So I highly recommend just spend a whole day there. And then they're a little bit outside of the city, and then back in the city, we have the Downtown Aquarium, Houston Zoo, another Museum of Nature and Science, Houston Museum of Nature and Science, which is terrific. And they have all of their dinosaurs posed in what they call action poses. So you might see two dinosaurs that are sort of look like they're fighting, or
Okay, we're going on the dinosaur tour.
I know. I sense a theme growing here.
Yes.
That's funny. Now Denver's on your list too. Are there dinosaurs? And they should be dinos in Denver.
Yes.
There is the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. And that's one of our newer destinations, and I have not been to all of the attractions there yet. But there's some great outdoor stuff. The beautiful Denver Botanic Gardens are there, and they're just stunning year-round. They have different things blooming and presenting at different times of the year. So it's a great place to go. One of the museums that's really interesting is the Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum. Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum. And they have a lot of different aircraft there, but they also have some stuff that would be really interesting for kids that isn't technically a real aircraft, but they have the X-Wing fighter that Luke Skywalker flew
Oh,
in
cool.
Star Wars movies. And it
Yeah.
has the little droid, the R2 unit.
R2D2.
R2D2.
Oh, we want that.
Cool.
We want to do that.
Yes.
Here we are. So, Northeast, you've got Boston and you've got New York City, right? So those are two.
And Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. So yeah, we talked Philadelphia,
Wow.
but New York City, what? Oh, we're scared about going there. Every time
Yeah,
we do
we
an interview
are.
with someone from there, they're like, "Don't worry about it. We'll take you around." I'm like, I'm not driving New York City. It's not happening.
I would not recommend driving in New York City. First of all, you can't find a place to park, and if you can, it's going to be super expensive. So
Yeah.
I say take the subway. It's not difficult once you kind of get the hang of it, or just grab an Uber or a Lyft
Yeah.
car, something to get you around when you need to. But walking is fantastic there because there's so much interesting architecture. So as you're walking from place to place, I always get a crick in my neck because I'm looking up at all the great architectural details on the buildings and things. But there we have the Empire State Building, and
Oh, wow.
last year they reopened or opened a bunch of new galleries. So when you're first going in to the Empire State Building, before you get to the observation deck, there are lots of new galleries you can walk through that have historical and pop culture references. One of the galleries has King Kong. You can see him through the windows. It's a video projection, but you can see him outside. And then his hand actually comes through one of the walls. And so it's
awesome.
a very popular selfie spot or photo spot is to sit in his hand and have your photo taken.
And that lady's going, ah.
Your Fay Ray moment.
Yes.
There you go.
That's so funny.
We have a Top of the Rock observation deck, which is the best place in the city to get a straight on view of the top of the Empire State Building. So if you go in the evening when the Empire State Building is usually lighted in the evenings beautifully, if you're at Top of the Rock, which is on top of Rockefeller Center, you can see right over to the Empire State Building and get this beautiful sort of eye level view of the top of that building. And Top of the Rock also has a great view of Central Park. Fantastic.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And we just added to our New York C3 ticket, which is more of our weekend ticket for people who are doing a quick trip. That only includes 3 attractions as opposed to the regular New York CityPASS, which has 6 admissions. And so to that C3 ticket, we just added Edge at Hudson Yards as one of our attraction options. And that's a brand new observation deck in that new Hudson Yards development.
Cool.
And I think they had been open for, I want to say, not even a week before the pandemic closed them down.
Wow.
No,
They've got a glass, it's an outdoor observation deck, and then it's got a glass floor in part of the,
yeah.
it's, 100 stories straight down.
No, but
Uh-huh.
it's like that one in the Grand Canyon, the
Yeah.
skywalk,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be crawling, but I'll go watch people do it.
That one bridge, yeah. I
Mhm.
saw people crawling on their hands and knees, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just watch.
Yeah, but that would be me. But
Yeah.
it's so funny how the glass, it's like going on a glass bottom boat. I love glass bottom
Oh,
boats.
those
I think
that's
that's one of the
awesome.
coolest things on the planet. But when you think about it, it's a different material. What's the big scary part? It's just different that we go on overpasses and in traffic, go on a highway, you're going on an overpass. Now if they made it glass, wouldn't we freak out a little bit?
No, no.
That would be a little slippery, so I might be.
Yeah.
I know, just but now Boston, what's Boston like?
Boston is one of our smaller destinations. Most of our visitors are only going for a weekend. So that ticket just has 4 admissions on it. And it includes things like the Harvard Museum of Natural History, which is on the Harvard University campus, the New England Aquarium, Boston Harbor Cruises, which I really recommend the Harbor Cruise. It's a great way to sort of get oriented to the city. And the harbor cruise, I think it's an hour or maybe 90 minutes, but it's a really, really fun cruise and just a great way to kind of get yourself oriented. If we hop back to New York for a minute, I should say, in addition to the observation decks, we also have a ton of museums there. So the Metropolitan Museum of Art, American Museum of Natural History, the Guggenheim, MoMA, Museum of Modern Art, is on our C3 ticket as an option. So, and then we've got the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. So a ticket to get on the ferry to go over to Liberty Island, can spend some time on the island that houses the statue. And they have a relatively new museum in the base of the statue now. And then you take the ferry over to Ellis Island and you have free entry into the Ellis Island Immigration Museum, which is terrific. And again, very moving. And then you get a ferry ride back into New York. If you don't have that much time, because that's one of those sort of, let's just spend a day doing this adventures, you can just do a Circle Line sightseeing cruise, which is, it will take you by a lot of those places. You won't stop, but you'll at least get to see them. And it's a quick 1 hour cruise around the harbor.
Nice. I like the cruising idea.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I know
cruising.
we touched on Southern California and Orlando. So those are like a lot of the theme parks that we think about when you think about attractions. And then up in Seattle, you mentioned the Museum of Pop Culture.
Yes.
Oh, or was it? Yeah, pop culture. That's cool. I mean, because Seattle, you guys have got a lot of different. Well, you're not in Seattle, but you're near there as far as
1 hour away.
Oh, yeah. So Seattle, we're going to be doing Washington. See, I'm using you again. I'm going to call you all the time. Hey, we're going here. But we'll be in Washington next year. So I want to know about Seattle.
Well, Seattle, several of our attractions are on the campus where the 1961 World's Fair was located. And if you ever saw that movie with Elvis at the World's Fair, it was there.
The World's Fair to me is just cool.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
So the Space Needle is the big draw. And that's an observation deck again. And they have, within the last couple of years, done a $100 million renovation on that facility, because it was 50 years old or almost 60 years old, I guess, by the time they finished. And they put in much more glass. So the walls that used to be like up to your waist level that were solid are now glass, and there's a glass floor in places. And so the visibility is much more increased. And if you're up there, take a look, if it's a nice day, take a look over at Lake Union, because that is where the seaplanes take off and land in Seattle. So oftentimes when you're on the top of the Space Needle, you can watch a plane landing on Lake Union.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that is cool. Man, this is awesome. So the website is citypass.com. Am I got that right? Okay, so everyone go there, save some money, because I know we're all getting out there and starting to travel again. And again, I think it's great how everybody's, working on this and keeping it a little, by reservation. I think that's smart for right now. So that's really cool. And so everyone, citypass.com. Also keep up with the International Food Wine Travel Writers at ifwtwa.org. And they have their conference coming up in November. Everyone's welcome to it. You'll hear more about it on our August show, but that's going to be in St. Petersburg, which means you can play CityPASS while you're there.
Right.
Just saying, get your CityPASS for your conference, right?
Go a day early, stay a day late.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, then go to Tampa, go to St. Petersburg. Actually, we might be doing. I think we might be going to St. Petersburg. I don't know, but if we do, I'm calling you. Listen, it's not just all about me. I know our audience is appreciating all your tips and telling everybody what to see and do in all these great cities. So thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
Oh, this was fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Everybody, again, keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Every second Tuesday, we do our Food Wine Travel Show with the International Food Wine Travel Writers